Oh, hey, you're here. I'm cracking open a cold one because today we're in the comfort of my own home. We're back home. We haven't been here in a little while because we have breaking news. Woo, woo, woo. Pick that up. Pick that up. Pick that up. Here you go. Pick it up. Just cracking open a cold one. Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up one more time. Pick it up. Hey-o. Just cracking open a... Pick it up. Come pick it up. Pick it up. I can't, Angela, I'm filming. Pick it up. Before you ask, yes, it was cold. That was not necessary. Angel didn't like my joke, so she retaliated. Anyway, today we have Charlie Siedenburg on the podcast. Charlie's a dear friend, and I'll be right back. I'm just going to cut right to the chase. The breaking news was today we have Charlie Siedenburg on the podcast. Charlie's been a good friend for a long time. Charlie's known me since I was in high school. And I think that it's one of those things where you know someone, but you don't realize their career and the wide variety of work that they've done. And so when it came time to ask him to come on the podcast, I was like, Charlie, I didn't realize that you worked at the Tonys as a press rep, or I didn't realize until just now that he met Stephen Sondheim and went over to his apartment. I mean, the stories are incredible. Worked at Paper Mill Playhouse for years, and you underestimate the work that someone does as a press rep because it's not a job that I think you notice as much, and that's on purpose. That's kind of part of the job criteria is not noticing how much work he's doing. But it's his coverage that's helped build Barrington Stage, which he's, recently, a Playboy article came out that he is now retiring from Barrington Stage after 21 years. And it's his coverage that helped put Barrington Stage on the map. And a lot of, press reps are doing that for these shows, maybe that need a little bit more of that coverage. So it was really exciting. And now we mentioned it, he is producing at College of Staten Island, where he just got done doing Fiddler on the Roof, and is going to be producing and directing many other shows, and teaches still currently at Wagner College. And he's a good friend of ours, a good family friend of ours. We're so happy to have him. And in our home, we're bringing you back into our home. Maybe I should give you a little tour, like, I don't know, what's back here? There's like a stapler and stuff. There's like a paper cutter and stuff. So anyway, that's the tour. We're bringing you into our home for this episode. So again, for the first time in a while, and it's necessary because Charlie Siedenburg is family. Okay, he'll love that. And we're really happy to have him. You're going to love this episode. There's so much to gain out of our first press rep on the show. So today, I want to be like Charlie Siedenburg. I want to be like you. 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 All right, let's do it. Welcome to another episode of I Want to Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes. Today, I want to be like Charlie Siedenburg. It's Siedenburg, right?
It's Siedenburg, yes it is.
So, we're now in our 30s. You're our 31st episode. We're in our 30s. Yeah, we could have podcast babies rolling around here.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah. So we start the podcast with the same question every time, and it is, well, first of all, thank you for doing this. We're so happy to have you.
I am honored.
Yeah. We're honored. We've known Charlie for a long time. Charlie's known us for a long time. So yeah, this feels very casual and very fun.
Yes.
So we start the podcast with the same question every time, and it's, who was your I Want to Be Like You when you were a kid?
Wow. Well, I had a book. It was a Dr. Seuss book it was the book about me, where he would talk about, for instance, how many windows were in your house, how many brothers and sisters, how many steps to go up to the second floor. It was one of those types of books. And back then, as a, let's say, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old, I went through so many different, I want to be a doctor, or I never thought about being in show business or being in the theater. It wasn't until high school.
Wow. So you didn't do any shows until high school?
No, and I regret that
Wow.
because when I see all the talented kids doing SICTA and star players.
Yeah.
For instance, before you walked into Wagner, you had several years of credits with SICTA.
Yeah, with children's theater. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was doing shows since I was like 10. Were you seeing shows?
Yes, the first show I saw, St. Clair's, that was my parish in Great Kills.
Yeah.
They were doing Hello, Dolly, directed by Patrick Del Zoppo, and it was the spring of 74, I think. So I must have been 4th or 5th grade. Mm-hmm. And I remember buying a ticket, and my father dropped me off. My parents didn't see it with me. I went by myself.
Wow.
And I remember in the St. Clair's Auditorium seeing Hello, Dolly, and there was a woman in the show who played Ernestina, and that was Celine Carr. Mm-hmm. And Celine Carr was very instrumental and a mentor in my high school years at Moore Catholic. Mm. But I have this thing where when I see someone on stage, such as Selena, I said to myself, I'm going to know her someday. Mm. Now, your first guest, Michelle Park.
Yeah.
I saw Michelle in her Broadway debut, the Broadway musical Male, with Michael Rupert.
And Brian Stokes Mitchell.
Yeah. But he was Brian Mitchell then.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I remember when Michelle came out of the refrigerator singing this song, "We're going to turn off the juice." I said to myself, I'm going to know this person someday. And Michelle and I wound up teaching together at Wagner.
That's awesome.
So, love you, Michelle.
Yeah, we love you, Michelle. So we should mention you're from Staten Island, right?
Yes, born in Brooklyn.
Okay, yeah.
Born in Brooklyn, raised in Great Kills.
Staten Island.
St.
And
Clair's,
you went to Moore Catholic.
St. Clair's, Moore Catholic, and Wagner College.
Yeah. Yes. In the spirit of seeing shows, do you remember what your first Broadway show was?
Yes. November 1st, 1978.
Wow.
Grease. I was a freshman at Moore Catholic, and it was Culture Day.
Oh.
And we had our choice of maybe a couple of Broadway shows, a trip to the museum, various things for the freshmen, sophomore, junior, and seniors. Mm-hmm. And I chose Grease.
Wow.
And I must have paid, it could have been $5, $10, $15 maybe. And
oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Sitting there in the audience watching the original production of Grease, I said to myself, I remember sitting, it was the middle of the orchestra, and I just remember before the show started, I said to myself, this is where I want to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about it?
Oh, it was just great. I mean, it was that year I was also in rehearsal for The Music Man, which was the first show I ever performed in at Moore Catholic. I was in the ensemble, and I just remember falling in love with Grease, the stage show, because that summer of 78, the movie came out with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, I didn't realize that it was that quickly that they brought it onto stage.
Yeah, so then the Broadway show was still running that fall of 78, and it changed my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's special. So talk to me a little bit about your high school time doing theater and the shows that you did in high school, because it's such a big part of what we talk about with the Minties, which is an organization on Staten Island that celebrates Catholic high school theater that you're a big part of. So talk to me about your high school theater. You went to Moore Catholic.
Yes.
You mentioned The Music Man.
Now, if we love Mike Pinto because he brought the Minty Awards to Staten Island.
Right.
My mentor, Carl William Lesh, brought the Broadway musical to the Catholic high school stages back in the 60s.
Wow.
He started with St. Peter's Boys High School with Oklahoma, and when Moore Catholic was then known as Countess Moore, he did The Boyfriend.
Wow, The Boyfriend.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
And then the next year, if I'm not mistaken, he did The Sound of Music. Which had both the Callahans, Gene and Ed Callahan.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and that's why that award at the Minty Gala is the
Carl William Lesh Educator of the Year.
Yeah,
and Carl, he was one in a million. I mean, he was a great mentor, and the shows that we did, He gave us Broadway-style shows. We had costumes that were on Broadway.
Wow.
From the Eves Brooks Costume Company. And the shows that we did, my years of more, we did The Music Man, Hello Dolly, My Fair Lady, and Mame.
Wow.
And what Carl liked to do at Moore, I think he also did it at St. Peter's Boys as well, but at Moore Catholic, what he would do is he would extend the stage beyond the proscenium and do a thrust stage. So imagine a great big T in the middle of the Moore Catholic Auditorium.
Yeah.
I mean, the stage would come almost to the middle of the auditorium where the big M is.
Wow, that's really cool.
And he would have a 10, 12-piece orchestra over house right, stage left. And he would conduct all those guys. In fact, Jack Nisi was one of the guys who played in the pit for a number of shows there.
Wow.
But, oh yeah.
What a cool thing.
And those folks who I did shows with, Chet Bowles, Paul and Chris Rotundo, Kathy Schaub, Linda Robitsky Warner, I'm still friends with them.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really special. So when you were in high school, were you like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do theater for a living?
Oh, yes.
Were you looking to be a performer?
Sophomore year of high school, we were doing Hello Dolly.
Yeah.
And I was in the ensemble, but I was also Stanley, one of the waiters who Dolly sings hello to.
Uh-huh.
You're looking great, Stanley. Lose some weight. I think you did, Stanley. I came home from rehearsal one day, and my mom was in the back room. We'll call the back room the den. Mm-hmm. And she's sitting there, and she's smoking a cigarette, and she's watching the soap operas, probably Guiding Light or something like that, or As the World Turns. And I come in, and I said, Mom, I'm going to be an actor. And she says, oh, Charles, you're talking out of your ass. Don't you know that most actors starve to death? Now go out and peddle your newspapers. I was delivering the Staten Island Advance at the time.
Oh my God.
So I love telling that story.
That's really funny. That's really funny. So when you were graduating high school, what was the first step? What was the thing that you were like, what was the next thing you did in effort?
Well, if you read the bio for MAME, fall of 1981, it said that Charles is interested in going to college and studying shipping and management. Because my Uncle Danny, God bless him, was a shipping management guy in New York City. And I thought, oh, I'll do Uncle Danny's job and make a lot of money like Uncle Danny.
Right. Yeah. So then so you decided that was what you were going to do right after high school?
Not really.
Yeah.
I went to a year of the College of Staten Island.
Okay.
And that was when the College of Staten Island was at the Petridis complex.
Okay.
So I went to CSI for a year, and then a neighbor of mine who I delivered newspapers to, she was working for Dean Witter Reynolds, the stock brokerage firm.
Okay.
And they were connected to Sears Roebuck. Mm-hmm. And I was working in the catalog department at Sears at the mall. And I remember her asking me, she was like, how would you like a job at Dean Witter Reynolds? So I started work at Dean Witter, I want to say December of 83, November of 83, and then stayed there until the summer of 85 when I realized I'm going to go to Wagner and major in theater.
Wow. Oh, yeah. That's special.
I saved up enough money.
So what was it like at the time when it came to auditioning for the school and whatnot? And that, because, it's I always say that it's such a formatted thing now, right?
It was easy peasy back then.
Yeah.
I remember meeting the founder of the theater department, Dr. Mattson, and I was in his office and told him how I went to Moore and worked with Carl William Lesh. And of course, he started crying because Carl did several shows at Wagner musically, whether he be a music supervisor. And they were getting ready to do Oklahoma, and it was the spring of 85, and they needed guys in the ensemble. They didn't have enough guys. So I auditioned, and I remember getting up there on the main stage and in front of the entire theater department, who were also auditioning for Oklahoma that night. I sang Stephen Sondheim's Being Alive from Company. And I remember some of my friends who were sitting out there in the audience, they went, instead of applauding, they did the...
Yeah.
And so I was cast in the ensemble. And that was 40 years ago. That was the spring of 1985. And those folks in the show, I'm still friends with most of them.
Yeah, that's special.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Talk to me about the shows that you did at Wagner. What were some of the shows that you did at Wagner?
Well, after Oklahoma, I did Very Good Eddie.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, I know that show.
Rogers
MTH, that's Laura Young.
Yes. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. The Importance of Being Earnest.
Cool.
Brigadoon.
Who were you in Oklahoma? Did you say anything?
I was Joe. I was just one of the cowboys.
Well, it's like Christian. That's like Christian. Christian was Fred, and Christian was somehow Christian managed to be Fred in Oklahoma and Bye Bye Birdie. He was Fred in both. I don't know if it was yeah, right, yeah, typecast as Fred. Yeah, that's funny. Well, you were in that dream sequence and everything then too, right? Or no?
With what show?
With Oklahoma.
No, I was not in the Dream Ballet. It was
separate. It was everyone.
It was Curly and Dream Laurie.
Right.
And I think Richie Byrne, who was Judd, played the Judd as well. And then there was the 3 postcard girls.
Wow, that's funny.
But then, let's see, the next year after Brigadoon, I did one of my favorite shows, one of my favorite roles. It stopped the show every night. I played Amos Hart in Chicago.
Wow.
Singing Mr. Cellophane. And who was my Roxy and Velma? Roxy was Janine Lamanna.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
Stephanie Cardinale was Velma Kelly. And one of my besties, Bonnie Brennan, was Matron Mama Morton. And so that was the fall of 1986.
Wow.
And then in 87, we did No No Nanette. And that was another favorite role of mine. I played Uncle Jimmy.
Oh, sure.
So I got to sing I Want to Be Happy.
Yeah, yeah.
And tap dance with the kids.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
And then She Loves Me. I played Mr. Marachek.
That'd be a good part for you now.
I don't have to gray my hair or my beard now like I did back then.
Right.
And then when I went back to Wagner for 4 full years, I did Camelot, The Prince and the Pauper, Look Homeward Angel, and another favorite role of mine, I played Horace Vandergelder in Hello, Dolly.
Oh, awesome.
Opposite Kathy Breyer.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes.
wow. That's really cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I didn't realize that So she was at Wagner with you at the same time?
Yes. Kathy was a student of mine at Moore Catholic. I directed her in a couple of shows, and I said, you've got what it takes.
Yeah.
You should go to Wagner. And sure
Wow.
enough, she went to Wagner. She
Yeah.
did the double major in theater and arts admin.
Wow. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. So when you left Wagner, were you looking to pursue acting?
When I finally graduated Wagner, spring of 1995, I was interested in going into publicity and PR.
Really? What exposed you to that then?
I was out at the Barn Theater in Augusta, Michigan, where I worked with the likes of Tom Wopat and Marin Mazey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was the summer of 91, and I was an apprentice or a member of the acting company, but we always did double duty.
Yeah.
So I was working in the publicity office.
Yeah.
So I was typing up a press release for How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
Yeah.
When Betty Ragazzi says to me, why don't you go back to school? And I said, well, where did that come from, Betty? She said, well, if we start the Barn Theater Institute for Advanced Theater Training, I want you to teach PR, and you're going to need a college degree. So I think you should go back to college. And I said, well, are you going to pay for it? She was like, no, but you'll figure out something.
Yeah, right.
She said, where do you want to go? And I said, the only place I want to go and receive a degree is Wagner College. She said, do you know anyone there? I was like, sure, Gary Sullivan. He's the current theater department chair. I called up Gary and told him my intent about wanting to come back to Wagner and study arts admin and theater and finish my degree. And Gary being Gary, he made some phone calls and he created a job for me. I was the assistant box office manager and the press representative for the theater department.
Wow.
From 91 to 95. And they have a thing called tuition remission.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So I went to school for free.
Wow.
But I paid for my books and my lab fees.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you were working. You were kind of getting like.
So I didn't get a salary. Yeah. It went towards the tuition. But I was assistant box office manager and press rep, and I also took like 12, 13 credits a semester and performed in a couple of shows.
And you were kind of getting your own press internship at that point, almost. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You were being exposed to, doing.
Oh,
it on your own for the
I
first
was
time.
working with the Staten Island Advance, sending them press releases and photos. And in fact, when I sent them a press kit for our production of On the Town, Rich Ryan, who was the entertainment editor at the time, he called me up and he says, "How would you like to be the theater critic for the Advance?" And I was like, "Really?" Well, I tried it for about a year.
Yeah.
But when you're reviewing your friends and reviewing people who you worked with, and one of the ladies in the theater community sent me a note addressed to my home address saying, "You were a little too hard on this production of Much Ado About Nothing about the set and whatever. Don't you realize, coming from community theater, that how many hours are put into a production?" And,
Right.
and I thought, I'm going to step down from being a theater critic.
Yeah, well, that's always the hard part about like giving your opinion on anything is like you just never know. It's like even like, and this is something I'm very highly encouraging of, is the 9-block rule, 10-block rule, where like you don't, it's particularly if you didn't like a show on Broadway, you don't talk about it for 10 blocks.
That's right. Yes.
So it's like, I saw, like, there are plenty of times where I'll see a show and, whether it be with one of you guys and we'll both be like, I think we feel similarly, but we'll talk about it in the car. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can't even talk about it on the subway because I see people talking about shows and they're holding the playbill that they just saw. And they're like, I didn't think he was that great today.
And what if an actor or an understudy from that show happens
is
to be on
taking
the same
subway
car
back? Yeah, exactly.
going uptown and downtown?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, so that could be a sticky thing.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about this is a silly question, right? But I think
There's no silly questions.
No silly questions. What is a press release exactly? What does a press release entail in terms of sending one out like you were to the Advance or sending one out now to like Playbill or something? What does it entail?
Well, it's funny. I remember something back in grammar school when we would write a report, and it was consisting of who, what, when, where, and why.
The 5 W's.
It's almost like what a press release is.
It's interesting.
Who, this theater.
Right.
What, they're presenting a show. When, the dates. Where, this theater.
Right.
Who's in the show. How much are the tickets. We're basically, it's interesting. I mean, when you see people appearing on the talk shows, or when you see people reading this news announcement from the government or from this company, it's written by a press person.
Right.
It's a press release that goes to
Right.
David Muir at ABC, or a press release will go to Drew Barrymore's people,
Right, for their show.
Yeah.
And so then how much about it how much information are you giving them? Because are you writing it out in terms of, this is like really nitty gritty, but are you writing it out in terms of like you're writing almost like a paper, or are you just giving them those bare bones? Like,
it's writing a paper. A press release can be anywhere from 1 to 2 pages, or 1.5 pages.
oh, okay, sure.
I mean, we basically, there are some agencies and some blogs that will, for instance, Broadway World. I love Broadway World. I send them a press release. They print it verbatim.
Oh, really?
They don't try rewriting it.
Okay, gotcha.
So be careful what you write.
Yeah, right. Right. Whereas others will kind of take the info and then
and make it their own. Yeah.
Okay, I see. And how about a press kit then? I mean, I did not know what a press kit was until I had to craft one for this podcast. I have to pat myself on the back. It's quite good. But what does a press kit entail?
Well, my first.
I was just flexing a little bit because you know what it was. I'll tell you honestly, because it's quite good. Yes, because it's not that funny because it took a lot of work. Like I don't do this all the time. So crafting this press kit, I was like, okay, so I want to format it this way, and you know what? That's an interesting piece. I should probably include that, and whatever. But I don't want to make it too long. I don't want to be So tell me about what a press kit entails.
My first exposure to press kits was out at the Barn Theater in Michigan, where we would get a folder. Perhaps, in fact, when I was producing Fiddler on the Roof this past summer, I kept my Fiddler on the Roof press kit from the Barn Theater from 30 years ago in 1995.
Wow.
And it had a cutout of the Fiddler, a silhouette in the lower left-hand corner of a brownish-looking folder. Fiddler isn't bright and colorful, it's dark and dim.
Right.
And inside would be a press release, a listings calendar, background information on the show, for instance, bios of the original creators,
Right.
and a fact sheet. For instance, Fiddler on the Roof opened up September 22nd, 1964 at the Imperial Theater,
Right.
played 3,000 something performances, originally produced for the New York stage by Hal Prince, directed and choreographed by Jerome Robbins, all that information.
Right.
Who started it originally, what famous songs come from it.
I see.
And we would provide, and we would also include photos from the show. And one of the things I started including when I was doing press in New York, we would include the copy of the script. Now, not necessarily for a musical, but for a new play, we would include a hard copy of the script. So let's just say Ben Brantley at the New York Times wouldn't have to call saying, Charlie, what's that third line, or what was that opening speech in Act 2 on that play? They could refer to the script right then and there, whether it be a hard copy or a PDF.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So I continued that press kit up at Barrington Stage. Well, after in 2005, 2006, I think it was the start of 2007, I was like, eliminate the folders that we're buying at Walmart for cheap, and we'll do an e-press kit, an electronic press kit. So, for instance, I have a show coming up in a couple of weeks called The Weekend. It's a new play by Ben Discant. So in my e-press kit, I'll include the press release. I'll include the program insert. I'll include a Flickr link to press photos and a copy of the script.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
So that's a press kit for a show, whereas a press kit for your podcast would probably be
we would put, like, what I had to put in it was
photos, a list of people who
have been on.
participated.
Yeah, and then numbers, because at this point now you put numbers to show what kind of
many hits you're
engagement
getting.
you've had. Yeah, so okay, this is on YouTube. We have this many people watching actively, and this is our.
So
engagement
this
level,
episode's
stuff like
going to get millions of hits, folks.
and then we're adding it to the press kit. Okay, so so how long were you working at Wagner? You said the 4 years that you were getting your. How many years was it?
I helped Wagner out pretty much for a lot of years.
Well, yeah.
But when Michelle Paulk joined the faculty,
Yeah.
Felicia emailed me or called me up saying, Broadway actress Michelle Paulk is joining the faculty.
Yeah, right.
We need you to help doing publicity.
Yeah. But even, I mean, like, after you had finished, because you said you went back to Wagner, and then you worked for other PR firms, right? So, like, you worked for tell me how to pronounce it right. Springer, is it Chicoine?
I worked for, my first New York press office was Merle Dubusky and Associates.
Okay.
And we represented Lincoln Center Theater.
Oh, wow.
So I got to work with Cherry Jones in The Heiress.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And that was the first show you were on.
I got to do Racing Demon with Brian. Oh, God. Brian Murray and Dennis O'Hare.
No way.
Yes.
Wow, he's the best. I love him.
And Northeast Local with Anthony LaPaglia and Eileen Heckert.
Wow.
And then I moved to Keith Sherman and Associates, and I worked on the 50th anniversary of the Tony Awards. That was the year that Rent and Masterclass won.
Oh, wow.
So who was I escorting to the Tony Awards red carpet but Donna Murphy and Zoe Caldwell and Nathan Lane.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So talk to me about what that entailed then, because working for the Tonys, when you're working for the Tonys, like that's a very busy press day. I mean, that whole day is about press. It's
And it was a
biggest
special
day in Broadway.
Well, it was the 50th anniversary of the Tonys.
Oh, wow.
So we put together a super duper press kit in which I was one of the leaders of,
Right.
in which, well, let's do a history of all the Tony. Well, before the Tonys went on national TV in '67, they were broadcast either locally on the DuPont or the Dumont network here in New York, or they were done in a hotel, sans television cameras.
Right.
And so we talked about what the original awards were: a cigarette lighter for the gentlemen and a compact for the women. That was the original Tony Award. Yeah.
Wow.
And then it became the medallion. and then they put the medallion on the black little pedestal.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's
it's
funny.
grown
Because
from
I
that.
remember Dick Van Dyke talking about like when he won his Tony for Birdie, like it was in a.
It was in a case.
Yeah, well, but also like the award show was at like it was at a hotel, and they did like this small. And
So that was 1960-61 when he won his Tony.
So this is the right 1966 or something like that. So this is the 50th anniversary of the Tonys. What does your job entail the day of? Like when you're talking
Getting
about
up very
escorting
early.
Donna. Yeah.
And getting into a tuxedo.
Yeah.
And getting to the theater.
Where were they? What theater was it at?
Let's see.
Still on Fontaine? I know they did
The
it there for a couple
Tonys
years.
for the 50th anniversary. Whoa. It must have been in a theater
Yeah. Like on Broadway.
because it was before Rosie O'Donnell took over.
The Tonys were at the Majestic, you said, right, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, he just looked it up. Is that the Majestic? So yeah, so talk to me about you said you wake up very early, you got a tux.
Yes. And we got to the theater, and they were doing a dry run of the show that night.
Right.
And the various speeches. And I remember all the seats being labeled where Donna Murphy would be sitting on the aisle, and Nathan Lane and Zoe Caldwell.
Wow. Wow. That's a big year too. I mean, Rent was it was a sensation. It was like the Hamilton year of the Tonys, where it was like everyone's talking about it. Everyone wants to see if it's going to win, and
Yep.
it did.
Yes.
You know, when you say you're escorting Donna Murphy like on the red carpet and things like that, how much of managing the flow of the carpet is a part of what you're doing?
Well, it was, my first experience hearing the word step and repeat, which is the backdrop.
Right.
And how we would walk Donna to be photographed by a bunch of photographers here, take another step, another bunch of photographers.
Wow.
So it was, hence that's why it's called step and repeat.
Yeah.
Step, get your photo repeated. Step, get your photo repeated.
Wow, that's funny. So how come that's your job? Does it usually go to someone who's like Donna's publicist, say, or something like that, who would be doing that?
Well,
Like, why are you on Donna and not on someone else?
well, I mean, we escorted her to the press room, and I'm sure that night there may have been a personal press person there for Donna and for Zoe.
Right.
But I don't recall.
You're handling.
I just remember handling them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then how much of it has to do with...
And I do remember, I remember Zoe Caldwell, her hands were shaking as I was walking with her and everything.
Wow.
And I said, don't worry. I said, congratulations. I know your sons. And that comforted her. She was like, my boys. You know my boys.
That's nice.
Sam and Charlie Whitehead. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
How much of it also with an award show like that, like how much of it also has to do with somebody just won, okay, this person just won, we have to put in that, because that's happening really quickly,
We have
right?
to get them off to the press room.
Right, because it's, I mean, Randy had talked about it where it's like you win the Tony, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're in like this ginormous press conference like the president, and you're like, and then
Everything from photos to all the major outlets asking you various questions.
right, and then those in and of themselves become little press releases of like, this person just won Best Actor, and it's got to get turned over quick, and then this person, Best Musical, and
sometimes, let's say, when a person who just won an award is chatting, they'll hear their friend just won an award, so they'll be like, "Oh," and they'll ask, they'll say, "Oh, I got to stay and wait for him or her to join me
get here." Yeah, right. Yeah, and now it's like little Instagram posts, like boom, they get sent out.
Sure.
Yeah. So talk to me about it, and tell me if I'm wrong about this. So you worked under John Springer, right?
John and his son Gary.
Right, and so I'm gonna riff.
John, a legendary PR
Right.
guy who took care of Marilyn Monroe, Henry Fonda, Elizabeth Taylor, and Dick Burton.
Wow.
When they were filming Cleopatra, and they were having the world's most notorious love affair.
Wow. That's unreal. And the company was called Springer Chicoine? Is that how you say
It started as Springer Associates, and then it became Springer Chicoine.
Chicoine. Springer Chicoine. But I want to riff off some of the shows that you were there for when they were, when you were working there.
Ah, yes.
Sideman by Warren Light.
One of the great plays. I love Sideman.
Yeah.
I loved working with Warren Light.
Yeah.
And Michael Mastro, who was in that original cast. I've chatted with him about seeing a revival of that play with as many of the original cast.
Wow. Oh, that'd
Yeah.
be interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was one of those plays. It started at it was on 13th Street, Classic Stage Company's space.
Oh, really? Wow.
And I remember my companion coming home from the theater that night. We were living in the city then, and he said, "I just saw one of the best plays ever." He was like, "Your Sideman is going to be a huge hit."
Wow.
And sure enough, I mean, Frank Wood, Edie Falco.
I didn't realize Edie Falco was in the original cast.
Yes. Yeah, Edie Falco starred in it originally before The Sopranos.
Well, we should mention, like, a lot of the press and the job that you're doing is making sure that a play like this that has this downtown life is, when coming uptown to Broadway, needs to be advertised to the max, because at that time Edie Falco is not Edie Falco now, so she's not selling that show the way that a Clooney would sell out his.
What was selling that show was the great New York Times review that Sideman got.
Wow.
And then Sideman got picked up by the Roundabout Theater, and it was part of their season. And then it finished its engagement at Roundabout, and then did an engagement on Broadway at the Golden Theater, I think.
Oh, cool! Wow.
Yeah.
So when you're, I'm gonna riff off a couple more, and then I'm gonna ask this question. Night Must Fall, Matthew Broderick, J. Smith Cameron.
Sure, working National Actors Theater.
Oh my gosh,
Tony
how cool
Randall's
is that?
theater. Yes,
That's so cool. Oedipus, Billy Crudup, and Frances McDormand.
that was a pain in the ass, that production.
Really?
Yes.
How come?
Well, the woman who took the press photo of Billy Crudup and Frances McDormand, we used it to send out to the various newspapers, and she charged us this outrageous amount that we went outside of her fee or whatnot.
Interesting.
And dealing with personal managers for Fran and Billy. It was also a 3.5, 4 hour long play.
Wow.
But
And now it's coming back to Broadway.
it won Dare Clubb, who was an old friend of Frances McDormand's. He won an Obie for that play, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what I was going to ask was, talk about your job working on these shows, like working as an associate under John Springer, what you're doing for these shows.
Well, for instance, once Gary and Susan would type up the press release, we would bring it over to the copy machine and run off hundreds of copies, or take it out to a Staples.
Right.
And then we would bring it back, fold it, put it in envelopes, put labels on it, put stamps on it, and send it off.
So funny, because now this is like an email. You know what I mean? This is just one email.
But since we were around the corner from the New York Times, we would literally
Walk
right into the lobby and meet Carol Coburn or one of the other associates in the theater department and literally hand deliver them the press release.
Oh, great. But what about the interviews and stuff like that when you have like a Billy Crudup or Matthew Broderick?
Well, we would set
facilitating
up the interviews. For instance, we would send a pitch letter or call up, let's say, Ralph Howard at 1010 Wins or Howard Kissel at the New York Daily News.
Yeah.
And we would pitch to them saying, how would you like to interview Billy Crudup and Frances McDormand?
Right.
He would say, I want to chat with Fran because I thought she was so wonderful in Sisters Rosenzweig. So then I would have to go through Frances McDormand's publicity machine to see if they would allow her to do this interview.
Right.
Or sometimes the publicity machines for people like Frances and Billy would help out with getting interviews.
Oh, interesting. So you guys are working in tandem. But then talk about why this sounds like a silly question, but the New York Daily News or like deciding where you're going to send these people to, because depending on the type of show and the type of demographic that you're trying to hit, whether it's like the same people who are going to see Rent or not going to see Sideman necessarily, you know what I mean? And why, I guess, like, is there a decision making when you go like, oh, you know what, I think it'd be great for them to hit up here instead of, things like that?
They would be in order. For instance, we would start with the New York Times, go with the biggest outlet.
Right.
And then from there, perhaps the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, the New York Post, the New York the New York Daily News,
Right.
New York One, CBS, Dana Tyler on
What
CBS.
about like when we talk about these talk shows? Is there a
The publicists are very
charge
much
of that?
very much involved. They would pitch it to the talent coordinator for, let's say, Colbert or for Jimmy Kimmel,
right?
and have them see perhaps the show that they'll eventually get their
Oh, okay.
guest
Okay.
on.
Yeah, and I imagine the same thing happens with the performances that happen on those shows, like Good Morning America or Today Show
Or
things
on the
like
Colbert
that.
show, they
Yeah.
would do a reduced version of the number.
Right, but would you have to pay for a slot to get onto those shows?
Those actors would be paid for their performance.
Okay.
They wouldn't be doing it for free on the Colbert
Well, yeah,
show.
but you're not paying for this, like the show itself. You're paying the actors and you're paying the band, say, but you're not paying for a slot on Colbert, right?
No.
Okay. Because I wanted to make sure that, because that was something that I don't know, that was just like a misconception that I had thought. Okay, so then you go on to work at Paper Mill Playhouse, and
Dream come true.
Yeah.
It was a dream job.
had you been going to Paper Mill before? Had you seen shows at Paper Mill and whatnot before?
Yes, as a matter of fact, when I was a arts admin student at Wagner,
Yeah.
and Gary Sullivan, and we would take these classes, he would ask us to have a model theater. My model theater was Paper Mill.
Wow.
So I would do a season at Paper Mill. I would write up imaginary press releases, marketing ideas for
Wow.
shows.
Oh, very cool.
And a girl who I did summer stock with, Kelly Marshall, now Kelly Parker, she was dating the associate producer of Paper Mill at the time, Roy Miller. And we must have met in the city, bumped into somewhere, and she introduced me. And I remember saying to Roy, her boyfriend, saying, "Oh, I'd love to work at Paper Mill." He gave me his card.
Rest is history. That's
So,
awesome.
Yes, I worked with Springer Chicoine through
3 years, I think. 99.
From 96 to 99, and I started Paper Mill June of 99.
Wow. What was the first show you worked on at Paper Mill?
Well, the first show that was already up and running was a production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat with Debbie Gibson
Wow.
and Patrick Cassidy.
Wow. There
Yeah.
he is.
My mom was in love with David Cassidy.
No,
Yeah.
This is Patrick,
Yeah.
The brother, right?
the brother of David Cassidy, yes.
Right.
So involved in theater, but
Yeah.
like that whole family.
Patrick owns a theater now
Yes, he does, yeah.
in Nashville. Yeah, Studio 10 in Tennessee. Yeah. Yeah, and just like,
So Vera had a crush on David.
The only celebrity. It was my first concert ever. My mom took me to go see a David Cassidy concert. I was the youngest person there.
yeah. So the Cassidy family has like run very deep in the Kaiser family as well, because
Shirley Jones, like everything about that whole Jack
Right.
Cassidy.
Sean as well. Yeah.
The
So you-
Hardy Boys.
Right. Yeah. So you mentioned that Patrick Cassidy was in Joseph.
He was playing the lead title role.
Wow.
But the season, my first official season, started with Jerry Herman's Mame, starring Christine Ebersole.
Yes.
And Kelly
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes. Angel, you heard that one? Kelly
Yes.
Bishop. Yeah, Angel's a big
Kelly
Gilmore
Bishop.
Girls
Oh.
fan, so that's
We used to hang out. Kelly, her off time, she'd be having a smoke outside of Angelo's office and everything, and I would chat with her and everything. We'd be gossiping or something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Kelly Bishop, the original Sheila in a
Incredible.
chorus line.
Incredible.
Pre Gilmore Girls.
Right. Pre Gilmore Girls. Yeah. So talk to me about what was your favorite show that you worked at? Because you worked at Paper Mill for I guess 5 years, right?
99 to 2004.
What was your favorite show that you worked on at Paper Mill? I'll riff off a couple that I noted that I was like, Pippin, Jack Noseworthy,
And Jim Newman.
yeah,
Jim Newman, who's currently in Mamma Mia.
former guest Jack Noseworthy.
I love Jack.
Yeah, he's the best. He's so sweet. He's the best.
Him and Sergio, yes.
Anything Goes with Cheetah. What the heck?
When Rosie O'Donnell had her show,
Yeah.
I had Christine Ebersole and Paul Iacono from MAME do My Best Girl.
Oh wow.
When Rosie's talent manager, my friend Joy Trapani, came out and saw Anything Goes, she was like, I want Cheetah, George, and Bruce on.
Wow.
Funny Girl
Funny Girl.
with Leslie Kritzer.
Oh yeah, I've seen clips of that.
The theater on film and tape came out and did a 3-camera shoot
Wow.
for Leslie Kritzer's Funny Girl.
Wow.
They also videotaped Of Thee I Sing that Tina Landau directed. And what was the other show? They videotaped 3 shows of mine. But yeah.
I'm going through. I wrote a couple more down too. There was art that's on Broadway now that I just saw last night.
We had Judd Hirsch.
John Hirsch was in that from Taxi, from The Fabelmans, from King and I with Carolee Carmello
And Kevin Gray, yes.
Oh my gosh! Like these were really like, yeah. And I guess like Carolee, I don't know if she was a star yet. Was she?
She was a star in my mind.
Yeah, right. She sure was. Yeah, but it's funny because these are like I guess Paper Mill has this long history of being right outside of the city, so they get these stars.
It's a Broadway theater in the Jersey suburbs.
Exactly.
A 1,200-seat Broadway theater.
Yeah, and we love on Paper Mill all the time, obviously, but
and
it's
the
just
renovation
funny.
that they're doing right now.
Yeah,
incredible what they're doing.
It looks awesome.
My buddy Mike Stotts is the managing director there.
Oh, very cool.
Along with Mark Hobie. And what they've done, they're great. They're a great team.
Yeah, and they continue to stay super in the zeitgeist and bring people to Broadway that you go.
They just announced Bull Durham.
Yeah,
their season opener, and my buddy Vadim Feichner is the music supervisor.
Oh, really? Oh, very cool. Yeah, Bull Durham is really exciting, and we talked to Mark all about that. And Josh Bergas is working on that too.
Love Josh. Josh is one of my fellow associate artists up at Barrington Stage.
Oh, really? Josh was on the show too.
Love Josh.
Yeah, Josh is great. And Josh is doing Music Man now with Matt as well. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, no, Paper Mill, much love on Paper Mill. So I want to talk about Sam Rudy Media Relations, where you worked at right after Paper Mill, right? Or a couple years later, I guess.
Yes, I was working at Barrington. And
well, right, because right after this, you got Barrington, which you've been at now for 21 years.
And I did press for John Lloyd Young and helped him get that Tony Award for Jersey Boys.
Oh, cool.
And Sam Rudy emailed or called up my companion, Michael, and said, "Is Charlie available for work? I need him to help in the office." And they were getting ready to open up the musical High Fidelity with Jen Colella. And I helped with the opening night of that. Helped with Avenue Q celebrating its 2000th anniversary. I got to do the New York Musical Theater Festival, which was running at the time.
Yeah. So you were working there simultaneously with Barrington.
Yes.
How did you get the job at Barrington? I mean, we talked about this off camera, but I want to talk about it on camera.
Well, I saw a playbill posting in the spring. It was the first week of April. It was April 2005. And it said, press director, Barrington Stage, full-time, Follies. I was like, oh my God. So I called up Barrington Stage. They were located in Sheffield, Massachusetts at the time.
You'd never been?
I had never been to Sheffield, no.
Yeah.
But I called up the front office and
how had you never been to Sheffield?
And the office manager answered the phone and I said, "Hi, I'm Charlie Siedenburg. I just saw your playbill ad you're looking for a full-time press director. Well, you could take that ad down because I'm your man."
Right. And it worked.
And I literally, from then I called up Michael Anania, who was designing their production of Follies, and Michael was meeting with Julie Boyd, the artistic director at that time. And I texted him or emailed him saying, "I'm applying for Barrington Stage press director. Please put in a good word for me to Julie." And within a day or two, I was at Julie Boyd's apartment overlooking Central Park Reservoir.
Wow.
And she hired me as the press director.
And you've been there for 21 years.
21 years.
I want to talk about this production of Follies. So, well, first of all, I should mention, you are... Charlie, what's your favorite musical?
Follies.
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 So Charlie runs a Facebook group called Fans of the Musical Follies that has over 2.8 thousand members. Okay, and I just want to riff off this cast of Follies that happened at Barrington Stage in 2005. So it was Kim Crosby, Leslie Deniston, Jeff McCarthy, Laura Teeter, who's Elizabeth Teeter's dad, right? Yeah, and Donna McKechnie as Carlotta. Like
Marnie Nixon.
Oh my gosh! It was a stacked cast. So how exciting to be a part of that, your favorite musical. And if I'm right, Mr. Stephen Sondheim himself showed up and saw it.
With Mia Farrow at the closing performance.
Oh my goodness.
And he was in tears.
Was he?
At the end of Act 1 with Too Many Mornings when Kim Crosby, his Cinderella from Into the Woods, was singing Too Many Mornings opposite Jeff McCarthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or how about Donna McKechnie stopping the show singing I'm Still Here?
I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine. That's amazing. Had you ever met Sondheim before?
Yes.
Really?
I was a student at Wagner College, and that spring of 1985, when I was doing Oklahoma, I wrote to Mr. S. saying how I had seen Sunday in the Park with George maybe 6-7 times, and I'd become a great big fan of his, buying cast albums, and I would love to meet him. So he wrote me back saying, that's all very nice, but perhaps you should tell me a little bit more about yourself, you know? So I'm not meeting some crazed fan, you know?
Right.
And I went over to Mr. Sondheim's house twice. Yeah, I've been to Sondheim's house twice, his townhouse.
In Turtle Bay.
And in Turtle Bay. And in fact, the first time I was there, we went to the back window, and he was showing me his backyard courtyard, and who was tending her garden but Katharine Hepburn. Katharine Hepburn was his next door neighbor.
That is insane.
And Sondheim gave me an autographed album. In fact, I have 2 autographed albums where it says, "To Charlie Siedenburg, best wishes, Stephen Sondheim."
Wow. What albums? Sunday, I imagine.
It was an RCA collection of Sondheim. It was done in one of those 80 logos where it was a multi-gray and white checkerboard, and it had Sondheim written. So it was songs of the various Sondheim shows recorded by RCA Victor. Wow. And then there was a Book of the Month Club that did a special Sondheim, in which people like Betsy Joslin and Chris Gronendahl, who were doing Sweeney and Sunday in the Park with George, they lent their voices to a whole bunch of Sondheim songs. And eventually, now I have the records, Book of the Month Club, but then I found it on eBay, the CD of that collection. So I have the CD collection as well.
Wow.
And hearing Betsy Joslin sing Too Many Mornings.
Oh, wow.
You know?
That's crazy. So you'd met Sondheim before this production at Barrington, or no?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, you said you were at Wagner.
So I wrote to him, and I met him in 85 and again in 86. And when I was assisting directing a production of Follies for Staten Island Civic Theater in March of 87, I invited Mr. Sondheim to come see it. And he called. I gave him my home phone number. And he called my house, and my father answered the phone, and he said, "Oh, Charles isn't here right now. Here's the phone number where you could reach Charles. The pay phone at 76 Franklin Avenue." Oh. So there I am. It's a Saturday night or Saturday afternoon before the Saturday evening performance of Follies, and the pay phone rings, and my friend Barbara Mangraviti answers the phone, and she yells upstairs, "Charlie, it's Stephen Sondheim on the phone for you." And Sondheim called to say, "Thank you very much for the invitation to Follies. Unfortunately, James Lapine is coming over, and we're working on Into the Woods tonight."
So he couldn't make it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I have to kind of break this down just a little bit more, because I cannot fathom that you as a student at Wagner College wrote to Stephen Sondheim and just like...
Elbi, if you were in my shoes, you would have done the same thing, Elbi. Who are you kidding, Elbi?
You know, you're not entirely wrong. But but so did he invite you over for dinner? Like, is that what happened at his apartment?
I had a soda. I think it was a Diet Coke.
Wow. And you guys just like chatted?
I asked him how Sunday in the Park with George came to be.
Yeah.
I told him about how I performed in a production of Forum as one of the Proteans, how Follies was my favorite musical. But I remember asking him about the creation of Sunday in the Park with George, how him and Lapine were looking through a book of artwork,
Yeah.
and they came across Seurat's A Sunday Afternoon of the Island of La Grande Jatte. Mm-hmm. And how Lapine said, wouldn't that be interesting? What's going on with all those people? What conversations? Who knows who?
Right.
And stuff.
Were you nervous?
No.
Really? I'm kind of.
I wasn't shaking. No, I wasn't shaking. No.
That's so funny.
I was meeting my idol, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's why I would expect you to be nervous, Charlie.
Now, after those two visits, I was ushering a production of A Little Night Music for the Equity Library Theater in the spring of 1986. And it was starring two friends of mine from that production, Judy Blazer and Maris Clement. And I remember, I ushered Mr. S to his seat on the aisle.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And I imagine, you...
And, of course, when I was at Barrington Stage, Sondheim came to our Follies.
Right.
He came to our Sweeney Todd, which starred Harriet Harris and Jeff McCarthy and Ed Dixon.
Cool.
And then he came to our company starring Aaron Tveit.
It's 2017. That's pretty recent.
And I loved how he gave little notes to, he gave a note or two to Aaron.
Yeah, did he?
About his performance and everything.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, that was a huge production, that company.
We had ticket buyers from all over the world buying tickets to see Aaron Tveit. In fact, one girl from Japan must have bought at least 2 or 3 weeks worth of tickets. She came and stayed at the Holiday Inn in the Berkshires. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I should mention, the Berkshires, I've been there for Williamstown Theater Festival once, and it's a beautiful place.
Beautiful.
It really is.
It's a culture vulture heaven.
Yeah.
Because you've got Tanglewood, you've got Jacob's Pillow, you've got 4 major regional theaters.
Yeah.
Museums, the Clark, the Norman Rockwell Museum.
Yeah. It's a beautiful space. And also, I should mention, so you were there when the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee originated. Is that right?
It started in 2004.
Oh, so it was right before you got there.
Exactly.
Okay.
And based on that success, and the monies and the royalties received, that funded my job.
Right.
Because they wanted a full-time press director.
Right.
And year-round. And also, that's how we got our theater, the Boyd Quinson.
Well, this is an
Main Stage.
interesting little note that Follies happened at a high school, right? That was
In a high school auditorium. Okay, so I've been hired by Barrington.
Yeah.
I already sent out the press release. Originally, Karen Ziemba was going to play Sally.
Oh, wow.
In our Follies.
Yeah.
But she dropped out for another project, and since Kim had done Lily Garland for us on the 20th Century back in 2001, Julie called her up saying, "How would you like to play Sally Durant Plummer?" Now, what was that question again?
We were talking about the high school theater.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I've been hired by Barrington Stage, and I drive up, and I went on, did the instructions and went to Sheffield, and went to the administrative offices, and then the production manager, Lila, said, "Oh, we're going to go over to the high school now." So we went over to the high school, and I remember walking down the aisle of this high school auditorium, and I'm going to do, being the New York snob that I am, I said, "We're doing Follies in a high school auditorium." She said, "Yeah." She said, "We set up a stage within the stage." Because, for instance, every high school auditorium has your legs, your tormentors, your teasers, and those strip lights.
Right.
Well, what Barrington used to do is they set up trusses in 1, in 2, in 3, and 4 with lighting and sound equipment.
Right.
And gave it a Broadway look to it.
Feel, yeah.
And sure enough, that Follies was sold out every performance, 500 seats.
Wow.
The Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. In fact, the New York Times, when they came, it was Ben Brantley. And it was a Tuesday or a Wednesday night. And we informed the calendar person who does the bookings for the critics at that time that it was a 7 o'clock curtain. 7:45, Ben Brantley pulls up. Julie Boyd and I are waiting outside, and we're like, "Ben, sorry, the curtain was at 7. He was mad, but he realized This was an internal mistake, not a mistake on our part.
Right.
And I remember him emailing me. So I had Ben Brantley's personal email address that night.
Yeah.
Not his New York Times email address,
right.
but his personal email address, which I still have to this day.
That's funny.
And Ben booked for the next night because Ben has a house in Columbia County, not too far from the Berkshires.
Sure.
And who did he bring but his colleague, Charles Isherwood.
Wow.
Who was at the Times at the time.
Yeah, and I guess he's at Wall Street Journal now?
Yes.
Charles? Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. I want to ask you about On the Town.
Oh.
So this was the On the Town that this was Tony Asbeck, right? It was talk to me a little bit about how that, that must have been a huge announcement. That must have been like, what was that? Jess, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
Just
let's see. Encores had just done a production of the Charles Strauss Lee Adams musical, It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman.
Uh-huh.
And it was directed by John Rando.
Okay.
And choreographed by Josh Bergasse. Mm-hmm. Well, the reviews were incredible.
Right.
And so I wrote to Ben separately and Terry Teachout, who was at the Wall Street Journal, separately, saying, if you guys loved It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman, you got to come see
On the Town.
Rando and Bergasse stage On the Town for Barrington Stage.
Yeah.
Well, sure enough, on the same day, the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal were sitting there on opposite sides of the orchestra section and reviewed glowingly our production of On the Town.
Right.
Brantley's review said something like, it's only like 3 hours out of town and it's a magical trip to musical theater heaven, something along those lines.
Wow.
And the box office we broke all records the next couple of days.
Really?
Thousands upon thousands. I mean, the phone just stopped. The phones never stopped ringing and everything.
It's funny how how long was that run? Like a month, like standard, right?
We did I want to say a 4-week run of On the Town.
Wow. Yeah. So that was a huge deal. That was a huge production, and then it transferred to Broadway.
And how the 6 leads all transferred with the production.
Wow.
It was a new ensemble, of course, and a new music director. But we had the same scenic design, costume, and lighting, and our 6 principals. In fact, I think it was Elizabeth Stanley, who was Claire de Lune. I love Elizabeth.
Wow. Kirsten just did a workshop with her.
I love Elizabeth. Did you do Stage Mother with her?
No, I did.
Time Stops, it was called. It was her and Norbert Leo Butz.
Well, Elizabeth, I remember her telling me that she had to audition for the Bernstein family.
No way.
It wasn't just because she did it at Barrington didn't mean she had to do it on Broadway.
Right.
She had to sing for the Bernstein family.
Well, the intent with this production was not a Broadway transfer, was it?
No, but
rumblings.
With that opening night, how it exploded with Brantley and Teach out there, word got around.
Right.
This is something special.
Right.
And the Broadway producer Howard Kagan came up and saw it, and he was the lead producer on the Our Town revival.
So that's wow. So it's funny because it's just funny because. Yeah, it's one of those things where that wasn't necessarily the intention, but it was a byproduct. You know what I mean? Because of how, because of the press.
I mean, we've been very fortunate during my time there. Freud's Last Session by Mark St. Germain.
Yep.
Moved to off Broadway. On the Town.
Right.
Our little play, also by Mark St. Germain, which was originally called Dr. Ruth All the Way, Becoming Dr. Ruth off Broadway with Deborah Jo Rupp from that 70s show.
Okay, yeah. And then The Cake, too, she did at Barrington, didn't she?
Yes, Deborah Jo Rupp.
And then that transferred to MTC Stage 2.
You should get Deborah Jo Rupp on.
I would love to. And she was amazing in The Cake. I saw it at MTC, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
I'm so glad she got to do The Cake there after doing it with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then but after that, she went back and did film. She was huge. She was in WandaVision, and then she did.
Now she's with this Agatha project, right?
Yeah, she was in Agatha all along with Marvel, and then she did that '90s show for 2 years before it got canceled.
And produced it too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and now she's coming back to do theater. Driving Miss Daisy. That's great. That's really cool. Okay, I want to talk about the Met because that was a big they were doing a live recording, right? And this was 2006.
I went on to Indeed.com and punched in public relations manager.
Oh.
And one of the first links that came up was Met Opera website. They were looking for a public relations manager.
But at the time, well, I guess once you got the job, this was a new thing for them to record.
It was a brand new initiative that Peter Gell brought to bring Met Opera around the world.
Right.
People, let's say, in New Mexico or Arizona, who maybe couldn't afford to come to New York, but have been listening to the Met on Saturday radio.
Right.
Now they get to see it in their own movie theater.
Right. And the first one that they did was the Magic Flute, and that was I think it was Julie Taymor who did it, right?
Yes.
So this must have been a huge. I mean, it must have been in terms of press, like that was a huge undertaking for the Met to distribute it. And how was it? How were they watching? Was it through PBS or no?
No. Well, eventually, it started with the Live in HD being transported or transmissioned all around the world to various movie theaters and other opera houses as well for folks to enjoy.
Oh, so you would pay to go see it? It wasn't on TV.
Well, eventually PBS started picking them up.
I see. Okay.
and
That's
showing
why
them.
that was the PBS
Or
association.
sometimes in the summer, they'll set up a movie screen in the Lincoln Center Plaza and show highlights or particular rebroadcast operas. Yes.
Oh, very cool.
I was very fortunate. I got a front page article in the Boston Globe about the Live in HD, which the administration, the leaders of the Met were very pleased with.
Yeah.
And then I remember a big time donor in Florida, I think in Naples.
Yeah.
She wanted a story in her local paper about Live in HD.
Wow, very cool.
And I got a story, and it was perhaps a cover story, and she wound up giving $500,000 to the Met.
Wow.
Because she was so happy. She was
I was
so
like, wait,
happy with
oh my
that.
gosh. Wow, that's
Yeah.
really special. And it's funny because it's just one of those things that you don't necessarily think about how what you do affects these things, you know what I mean? And getting the word out in and of itself, which is the if you had to break down your job into, layman's terms, that's exactly what it is, getting the word out. I want to ask you about working with different marketing teams and marketing, how your two jobs work peripherally, but also in tandem. You know what I mean? And I guess we've dealt with a lot of the marketing teams now and whatnot, and I'm having a little bit of a hard time diversifying the press teams from the marketing teams and their exact positions.
Well, now they're combining them.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of times press and marketing are within one firm.
Okay, gotcha.
But if we were to separate them, for instance, marketing, I would think they would be in charge of the creation of the logo.
Oh, okay.
And then the logo with the credits. And then creating with the ad reps the different sizes that would go in the newspapers and the magazines.
I see.
And then possibly the creation of the commercial, which would be working in tandem with the press office.
Right.
Because you're dealing with the actors,
I see.
authors,
Okay.
creative team.
I see.
The press people, for instance, we would get the news release out, the listings out, pitch stories and features, get them on TV, get maybe a Vogue shoot. For instance,
Right.
I just saw that Lincoln Center's Ragtime just did a Vogue shoot.
Yes.
That's a huge thing.
Oh, really? Yeah, and it was a beautiful shoot too.
Yes.
Because that makes a lot more sense because I think the reason why the lines are blurred a little bit now is social media, because now a lot of these like logos or announcements get published through marketing teams that are handling more social media stuff, right?
It's a little bit of both, but I want to say probably more on the marketing end. Yeah.
Right. The social side, the social media part of it all. And two, I guess now talk to me about your tenure at Barrington is coming to an end. You've been there for 21 years. 2 decades
and change. Yeah.
Yeah. And you worked the 40th last year with La Cage, and I guess talk to me about your time there and what the biggest takeaway from your time at Barrington for 21 years. There was also, you should check it out. There's an article about you in Playbill and Broadway Briefing about about your retirement that came out
Broadway
last week.
World.
And Broadway World, right?
And Berkshire on Stage.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess talk to me about your retirement.
At 61, to use the word retirement, some people, a lot of my friends thinking I'm actually retiring.
Right.
No, I'm not retiring. It's just I'm retiring from Barrington Stage.
Right.
But a new opportunity has opened up for me at the College of Staten Island.
Right. Right.
Doing producing and programming for the Center for the Arts.
Right. Right.
My time at Barrington, that's a whole show within itself.
Yeah. Right.
I'm very thankful that Julie Boyd hired me and took me on. And in fact, when I got hired by the Met, I took Julie out for coffee and I said, I've just been hired by the Met and I'm going to be their public relations manager, but I'm not leaving Barrington. I'm going to do both. I'll work it out. Because I basically said to her, I said, I can't see anybody else doing this job but me. And the thing that the press have loved, those who have been with me for these 20 years, is just the consistency. A lot of times with the summer theaters or with the regional theaters, there's always a new team of interns and apprentices coming in and maybe a press person coming in. Well, I've been doing it for 20 years, so
Consistently.
they've gotten my phone calls, they've gotten my emails, inviting them to shows, pitching them on stories, giving them some off-the-record tidbits.
Right.
The takeaway, it's just, wow, it's been, when people have said the legacy that you're leaving, and I'm like, I'm leaving a legacy? It was a job. It was something that I loved. And when you do what you love, it's the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I guess I had no idea that I'm actually leaving behind a legacy. I'm hearing from our board of directors, like, can't you stay?
Oh.
Are you sure you want to leave? Is there anything we could do to help make you stay?
Right. Right.
It's a rather bittersweet.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Closing this chapter, but it's been the honor of my life to represent Barrington.
Yeah.
Because I know what I helped put them on the national map.
Right.
I mean, the reason why interns, apprentices, and people want to work there is because of the stuff that they've seen. Oh, wow, that's a theater I want to work at.
Yeah. Right.
And that's because I got the coverage.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty special. And you don't really necessarily, you don't really think about it, but of course we know Barrington Stage. Barrington Stage is huge, and you look at it and you go like, oh, I want to work there. You want to work there. Like you want to have your show premiere there, and it is looked at as like now especially as like an out of town house. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, shows oftentimes try out there to move to Broadway, or things like that, and you don't necessarily consider how much work in that coverage is. How much of it is necessary, I guess, to make it as popular as it is around the community and beyond, right? Beyond.
But those shows that moved, I mean, who knew about this little musical about spelling bee participants, or a play where C.S. Lewis comes to interview Sigmund Freud, or Dr. Ruth talks about how she was a soldier. And she survived the Holocaust.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, 3 sailors on a 24-hour leave singing Bernstein, Comden, and Green songs. I mean, who knew?
Reviving a show, too, for the record, just to put a cap on the town, reviving a show, too, that isn't like an immensely popular show. You know what I mean? It's popular if you know it, but it's not one of those, it's not like a show that gets revived all the time. It's not a Gypsy or a Camel, it's not.
Or a La Mancha, no.
Right, yeah. So,
It was very special. It was the right time at the right place
for
On
sure.
the Town. I just wish On the Town found a smaller Broadway house, because I think it got lost in
the Winter Garden, right?
No, it was at the Lyric. It was at where
yes, right.
Where Harry Potter is now. Yeah.
Yeah, right, which is also a huge space. Yeah. let's talk about this new opportunity that you have now. They're very lucky to have you, College of Staten Island. You are now going to be facilitating a lot of the productions that are happening there and producing, and you just got done producing for the first time.
Yes, Fiddler on the Roof.
We talked about it on Randy's episode because Randy was in Fiddler with Randy Graff. Randy Graff's episode with
Alfred Molina.
With Alfred Molina, and we talked about your production of Fiddler that just wrapped up a month ago or so at CSI. Talk to me about what that experience was like for you producing for the first time. Because, like we said, Charlie's far too young to retire, so he's retiring from Barrington Stage, but he's pivoting to this new, like you said, this new chapter of producing. What was that like for you producing for the first time? Because you were doing it all. You know, you had a lot. That's not to, dismiss anyone else's work, but it's just that you had your hands full.
Mm-hmm. Well, the story goes, back in August of 2024, I went to a scholarship dinner for Jennifer Straneri because the Board of Trustees and CUNY allowed the announcement or the formation, the start of this scholarship fund,
right,
where students who are in the Performing Creative Arts Department would get scholarship money to pay for school expenses. And so I went to this dinner, and when I walked in, I met 3 people who were very instrumental in me starting there at CSI.
Yeah.
I met Jessica Calora, the chief of staff, Timothy Lynch, Dr. Timothy Lynch, the president, and Rosemary Vitale, his assistant. And when I asked them, gee, what do you guys do here? And they told me their jobs. And I said, oh, thank God I didn't put my foot in my mouth. Jessica said, we'd like to start a summer theater program here. Right. And I said, well, look no further, I'm your man.
Yeah.
And I said, let's do Mamma Mia, let's do Grease, let's cast your son Dominic as Sonny Lattieri in Grease,
Yeah.
And I met Bob Wallace, and eventually, back in the fall of 2024, I met up with Dana Trimboli, who's my colleague, my boss now. And when she, at our first meeting, she said, I don't know anything about theater. And I said, stick with me, kid, I'll teach you.
Yeah, right. Literally, he teaches a theater appreciation course.
At Wagner now.
Right.
Some 12, 13 years, 14 years now.
Right.
But I started officially at CSI in April and applied for the rights for Fiddler, started assembling the creative team, and we had auditions. And a young lady by the name of Angelina Cespedes had auditioned for us as well. Yeah. And not only did she sing a song from the Broadway repertoire, but sang an obscure song of Bach and Harnick's from the Rothschilds.
What a rare find! What a
one room.
Find.
Wasn't it called One Room?
Yeah, Kirsten.
And I was like, how
deserves the
does
pat on the back for that
Angelina
one.
Cespedes know One Room from the Rothschilds? Cast her. She's going to be in the show.
And I should mention too, she was one of 90 people who turned out.
We had 90 people audition. We had a cast of 46. We had 5 young ladies who served as Russians and as bottle dancers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, complete with beards.
Yeah.
and Velcro on top of their hats. Because Mr. Press, the show was covered by not only the Staten Island media, but the New York Post covered Fiddler. And I want to talk about community theater because there's the importance of it, because when the thing about community theater is that these are people who are doing it not because they have to, not because it's funding anything, but it's purely for the love of it.
For the love of it. And there's something about that that's pure, and
pure and innocent, and just getting out of the house and just, meeting up with people and collaborating and creating a moment that sometimes will never be forgotten, just like our Fiddler.
And getting the chance to express yourself in this creative outlet. It was opening night of Fiddler. You had generations in this cast. You had grandfathers doing the show with their daughters and grandkids. And then you had teachers retired teachers doing the shows with their students and their kids. And it was honestly magic. And
It
I
was
have to
magical.
tell you, we were sitting in the first couple rows opening night of Fiddler, and tradition started, and I'm looking and I know 99% of everyone in this cast. And I mean, you couldn't help yourself. You had tears rolling down because it was everyone. It was people who haven't been on stage in decades. It was, and with their kids who weren't even alive the last time they did a stage show. It was beautiful. And a lot of what you do as a person, I think, is put these people together, right? You introduce other people, or you know, and now you're getting to do that on a producerial level. You know what I mean?
Well, I like that. Producerial.
Producerial. Yeah, yeah.
That's a new word.
Yeah, and I want to ask you this because I know the answer to this, but it's important to mention why Fiddler, why you decided to pick Fiddler.
It was Jennifer Stranieri's favorite musical.
Right.
And
talk a little bit about Jen.
What better show that family, tradition, it's timeless, considering what's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to do Fiddler. And
Yeah.
there hadn't been a major production since 1989. Now, granted, there may have been a parish production.
Sure,
There may
sure.
have been a high school production.
Sure.
There may have been a Wagner College production, but a big community theater production with 30, 40 people?
You
No.
couldn't have gotten bigger.
No.
And it was
10-piece orchestra?
yeah. It was magic. And
Christian Cespedes backstage.
yeah. There had never been a production of Fiddler with Christian Cespedes backstage. First one. But he, let's be honest, he wasn't that big of a help, was he?
Oh, yes, he was. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so muscle man. So, but your next show is, well, I'm you know what? Can I mention Our Town, or is
Yes,
that not? I can't.
Thornton Wilder's
Okay.
Our Town is next.
Okay. I didn't know if that was off the record. Our Town is next, and you're directing it.
Yes.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, I had the pleasure of directing a production of Our Town back in 2021 for the Spotlight Theater Company. Ava Aloya, who played Emily in that production, she was supposed to do a production of Our Town at her high school, but it had gotten canceled due to COVID. And I was saying to her mom, her mom, Mary Lee Aloya, who runs Spotlight,
Yeah.
overheard me saying to Ava, "Oh, I'd love to see a production of Our Town with teenagers."
Yeah.
Well, I'm driving back home on the New Jersey Turnpike when a phone call came in from Mary Lee Aloya saying, "How would you like to direct Our Town for us?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I'd love to."
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had a cast of like 18, 20 kids in the production. And we did it up at the Newdorf Moravian Church. And it was just magical seeing young people tell this story of Grover's Corners.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward, here we've just finished a wonderful production of Fiddler at CSI, and I was sitting with Dana in her office literally 2 weeks ago, back in August, and she said to me, "So, what's next?" And I said, "How about Our Town?" She was like, "I love that play." And I said, "I'll direct it.
Yeah.
Let's do it."
Yeah. Yeah.
So we applied for the rights, and we got the rights to present Fiddler for Our Town for 3 performances in December.
Yeah.
And I thought, from Anatevka to Grover's Corners, it's still families, community, traditions.
Yeah. And also, we should mention that this theater is, 400 seats?
420, 430 seats.
It's pretty amazing. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful space on
Yes, it
Staten
is.
Island. So it's really exciting. When are auditions for that?
Auditions will be in early October.
Coming up.
Yep, October 5th and 6th. And performances December 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah, how
Williamson.
exciting. That's
Yes.
exciting. So we're looking forward to that. And then next year, you're doing
1776.
on the, what is it?
It's a co-pro with Ghostlight Players
Yeah.
in honor of America 250.
250 years, 1776 next year. So that's pretty exciting too. And I'm sure a bunch of other things in the works and,
Well, my favorite children's theater company on Staten Island, SICTA.
Staten Island Children's Theater, baby.
Association.
Yeah.
They're going to be doing Into the Woods Junior.
That's right.
February 1st
That's
at the
right.
Williamson.
Yeah. So That's pretty exciting too.
Yes.
And we're a part of that as well. We should mention, and it's a really exciting thing. I don't think I've ever been. I've done Into the Woods Junior once 10 years ago, but
you haven't performed at the Williamson or worked at the Williamson yet.
No, I've never have. No.
Your brother and your mother and your sister have.
I know, it's been a family affair.
So you've got a lot of catching up to
Yeah,
do,
well, there you go. Now it's on. Now we have it on podcast. There it is, recorded. I also want to ask you a little bit about theater appreciation. You've been teaching this course at Wagner, like you mentioned, for like 12 or 13 years.
Yeah.
And what's amazing about this class is you have all the likes from like, there are some people who are phased in theater and theater education majors and theater studies majors.
Believe it or not, no. Most of the students that have come through my theater appreciation class have been physician's assistants,
Right.
nursing majors, education, marketing, business.
Right.
Very few arts admin.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. I was going to say, like, there are some that are phased in theater, but the vast majority of them are not at all. Some of them are football players or, things like
Lacrosse.
that. Yeah.
I've had lacrosse players. I've had water polo players.
Yeah, and you're introducing them to theater in certain respects.
And they all know Professor Siedenburg's favorite musical. It's on the midterm and the final, folks.
and now everyone watching does too.
Yes.
Talk to me about what teaching that course has been for you, and I guess like introducing people to theater is such an interesting, like, exciting thing. And we mentioned this all the time for people who don't know musicals in particular. That I think there's a misconception there's such a polarizing idea to the idea that someone will sing on stage and break out into song, but there's a musical for everyone. So the idea of like not liking a musical is like saying you don't like music or movies or TV. It's like it's not a genre, it's a style of artwork. So if you don't like Guys and Dolls, there's a Sweeney Todd and there's a Mamma Mia and there's all these. So I guess talk to me about introducing people who maybe have never seen a show in a theater.
I want to say 9 out of the 10 students, sometimes they're seeing their first show either at Wagner or a high school stage or a Broadway stage.
Wow.
Because of my class.
Wow.
In addition to our lectures, our theater word of the day, talking about our Broadway briefing and our playbill stories, my students, I ask them to see at least 3 shows, 2 or 3 shows at Wagner, whether it be on the main stage or stage 2. Mm-hmm. And if they're able to afford to go see a show in New York City, and if it's a budget restraint, go see a show on Staten Island. Go to one of the local high schools or one of the community theaters and see a show.
That's pretty awesome.
And then I ask them to write about it. Right. I mean, I don't want a synopsis about the play. I want them to talk about the theater experience, for instance, why they chose that play, how they got there that night. Did they have a bite to eat with friends before or after? Did they go by themselves? Did they go with their friend?
Right, an evening at the theater.
And then what they thought about the show.
Right.
Would they recommend it to a friend?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's pretty special. And I imagine what you've kind of been doing is setting the stage for people to become theater fans.
All my students have to sign up for Broadway briefing at the beginning of the semester.
Nice.
Because they'll come in for every class, and after I take attendance, I'll say, okay, Elbi, what did you read on Broadway briefing or playbill this week? Mm-hmm. And then you'll report on 2 or 3 stories.
Yeah.
And let's say Kirsten might say, oh, well, I had the same story that Elbi had, but I saw this feature that I thought I would mention to the class about why I chose this story about the creation of a dance routine in Mamma Mia or something.
Right. Well, to be honest with you, some theater majors could use that too, because I think a lot of theater majors don't know what's going on in the theater at the current moment. So I think that that's a useful thing regardless.
Oh, I would hope someone like Ella Dreyer, who's our new theater major and Sikta Kid at Wagner,
who just got cast. Yeah, she just got cast.
What she got cast?
I don't know. I saw her initials on the call board. Yeah.
Well, she's not in company because that's the first show on the main stage.
Yeah, that's already been cast. Right.
But she just
I think it's a stage 1 show. Yeah, I think it was a stage 1 show.
Glad.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. She's swing too, so that's also going to be a great thing for her. It's awesome. So I have this fun little idea that I wanted to shop around with you because you teach this theater appreciation course. I wanted to ask you for I'm not even going to call it a Mount Rushmore. I'm going to say I've never seen a musical before. I've never been to the theater. Give me 5 musicals or so to research. 5 musicals to say, this is your musical theater for dummies.
Alrighty. 5 musicals?
5 musicals.
Showboat. Oklahoma. Guys and Dolls. My Fair Lady. A Chorus Line.
Wow. Why those shows? I mean, I know why some of them, but explain yourself.
I consider each of them a landmark and a show that just what makes America great. It's America that created the tradition of the musical comedy.
Right.
And now it's people all over the world try to do what we do best. Mm-hmm. It's our American musical is our contribution to the arts.
For sure.
You know?
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, a show like Showboat and Oklahoma and Guys and Dolls, those are American musicals and New York musicals.
I mean, I can go further and say, Hamilton and Annie and Hair
and Rent. Right.
But if I was to start with Showboat, the granddaddy of the American musical.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, I have this fun little game I want to do with you, and this is what did you call it, Kristen? Mind ranking? Is that what it's called? Blind ranking. What? Blind ranking. So essentially what happens is I'm going to give you 5 shows that I know mean something to you. And why are you laughing? It's blind ranking. Yeah, blind ranking. I guess people know it. I'm not on TikTok as much. So essentially I'm going to give you I'm going to name a show, and you have to list them on a list of 5s. But so let's say, I'm terrible at explaining these types of things. Blindly, exactly. So the idea being... Mindly. So the idea being, if I say something like, let's say I was to say like a Music Man, you put it on a tier of 1 to 5. So if you say it's a 3, or let's say you say it's your number 1, then the next musical can't be number 1. It has to be, etc. So, but you don't know what's coming, so you're doing this blindly. That's why it's called blind ranking. Wow. Yeah, I didn't create this game. So I'm gonna start with Lacage. On a tier of 1 to 5, where would you put it?
Now, how many musicals are you giving me?
5.
5.
Yeah.
Okay. Lacage, 5.
5. Okay, cool. Good. You're leaving your options open. Little Night Music.
Probably 3.
3. Okay, cool. Follies.
You're pulling my leg. Number 1.
Number 1. Company.
2.
2. And that leaves your number 4 with Mamma Mia.
Awesome sauce.
I was gonna say that kind of fit really nicely, and that'll be great for our TikTok. Okay, so we do this all the time, and it's a tradition on I Want to Be Like You for you to manifest a dream guest, manifest someone for us to have on our show sitting in this chair. We have yet to, in our 31 episodes, we have yet to have a dream guest, but hopefully one is coming soon.
Oh, wouldn't it be great if you got Lapone or Colbert?
Yeah.
But you got to feed Lapone a couple of cocktails and everything.
Great, we'll take it. Patti LuPone and Stephen Colbert. I love it.
Leslie Kritzer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Leslie.
You probably should get Seth Rudetsky on.
Oh yeah. Those are all great. I love it. I'll take it. And lastly, we started the podcast by asking you who was your I Want to Be Like You when you were a kid, and we want to ask you who is your I Want to Be Like You now. And it could be anyone. It doesn't have to be a celebrity. It could be someone in your life. It could be whoever you'd like.
I'd want to be Hal Prince.
Hal Prince. Wow. Why Hal Prince?
Well, it's going to make me tear up now. What he did for the American theater, starting out as a stage manager and becoming a producer and a director and directing Follies, Night Music, Company, Sweeney Todd, Phantom of the Opera, a Showboat revival.
Mm-hmm. Evita.
Producing Fiddler.
Yeah.
Fiorello. West Side Story.
Cabaret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She loves me. I mean, The reason why the man had 21 Tony Awards, the most in Tony Award history, is because of what he brought to the table and everything. And it probably wasn't easy. There was a lot of flops and a lot of hits and everything.
Right.
And I'm sure he pissed off a lot of people, but he made a lot of people happy. And his collaboration with Sondheim is just as important as Rodgers and Hammerstein collaborating.
Right.
I mean, those are two of the greatest collaborations in American theater history.
For sure. I love that. We'll take it. Thank you for doing this,
Thank
Charlie.
you, Elbi.
We love you, Charlie. I Want to Be Like Charlie
Love you guys.
Siedenburg. I Want to Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes is produced by Elbi and Christian Cespedes. Special thanks to Angelina Cespedes, Ina Cespedes, Kirsten Blue Kaiser, and of course, Charlie Siedenburg.